I agree and disagree with this user. Listen to what she says, and then I'll give my thoughts on it and tell a little story, actually.
Entire life. So I know firsthand how people will try to other you. And then when they see that you're okay with being othered or you find comfort being alone anyway, they'll try to like reel you back in, or they'll start to tease you or like psychologically manipulate you because they can't fathom you not needing their validation, their attention. And that's why when people try to shut you out, when people try to make you feel like you don't belong or something is wrong with you, it's not because something is actually wrong with you or you don't belong. It's because they're trying to test and see how dependent you are on their validation, because it gives them an understanding or like a measurement of their hierarchy with you. Am I above this person? Am I below this person? How confident is this person in themselves? Like, it's basically a social measure of how codependent or not you are on your environment or on that person. So if you're being shut out, if you're being rejected or just made to feel less than intentionally by somebody, understand that it's not because of you. This is just a general way that human beings have learned to like find their place in the social hierarchy.
So I always been sports adjacent most of my life, meaning that most of my friends were people that I played sports with or that I competed with. We would go to each other's houses. Mainly, I would go to their houses because I actually lived in the hood, and their parents would let them come by my house. Uh, but I would go. That's who your friend group is. Like in high school, it was the same way. Um, we were connected because of football, and because of basketball, because of track. That's why we were friends, and we spent a lot of time together because of the sports that we played, which is understandable. Nothing wrong with that. When I got to college, I got recruited to play football, and two of my really close friends actually came with me at the time. Two of my close friends at the time. One that I realized for some odd reason he was in competition with me, even though from the like worldview he would be winning that competition. Homie was really good at football, really good at basketball, got all the girls. And in college, I got real fat and like was just low confidence and just overall my morale was low, like low aura. But I hung with a group of friends that we all played football, or a group of people we all played football, and so at certain times, especially with guy friend groups, other guys get insert or introduced to the group through one of your friends. So there's one guy I introduced actually to the group, and then at that point, I started to notice the difference in how the group perceived me. I ignored it for a bunch of years. So I'm gonna fast forward through the years, but it finally came to a point one time. We were all in a group chat, and one of the people in the group chat who I've literally had known for like my entire life, my entire like memory having life. I went to grade school through or K5 through eighth grade, and then college with this person. Um, Purposely was making fun of me in a group, and it bothered me because it was something that was personal between me and his dad. And I was renting the house from his dad at the time, and it was weird to me because I was like, wait a minute, and it clicked at that moment. I was like, oh, I'm the entertainment for the group. And what I realized is tracking back is that person that I introduced into the group wanted my spot within that group. So would do everything, and me and that person would argue all the time, and would do everything negative purposely to like kind of defame me is the best word I could use it within the group, and embarrass me within the group. And then others, one that was kind of brought into that group too by somebody else, was usually the same. And I used to notice this person do it. And then I went through a super traumatic situation, right? And I think the rest of the world thought I didn't think it was traumatic because I was still working, still going, but crushed my world, my entire world. And I got a phone call from the one dude that the other friend brought into the group, and he was like, "Yeah, we purposely was doing like he was kind of, it was like an apology, but like brag kind of thing. Like, yeah, we always do that, and it was being done on purpose, and kind of laid out the entire plot. And at first I was like, oh, he a good dude because he told me. And then I was like, he was participating in all of that. And it was, I don't know what the deeper reason was, but it was a sense of, because when we would go places and we would do stuff with that group, I would typically either go my own way or I'm like hanging with the group. And the judgment of the group never really bothered me. Like I never really took that as, I was like, these are my friends. But now then I sat back and I realized after I had like tied to that super traumatic event, had the time to sit and actually realize that like, oh, the whole time it was, because I'm naive to some stuff like that. I'm like, it was a competition between all of them, and like it was different dynamics than I thought it was. I think I tend, especially before, I tend to think in like storybook. I love movies. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, it's a core guy group. Like when I get married, he's gonna be the dude standing up. But then I realized that like we all were just friends because some white dude recruited us to play football. That was a tweet or something. That I didn't make that up, but I was like, oh, that is true. But within that group, the thing that it, when I got like a bunch of stuff, why I don't have any hard feelings towards them people or anything like that, is because I realized I wasn't in it for something they wasn't. And I can't be mad at them if they wasn't in it for the same thing I was in it for. And I put that with a bunch of situations, even that traumatic situation, the same thing. I was like, oh, that person wasn't in it for what I was in it for. So I can't be mad at that person for not having the intentions that I had. So they didn't break no trust or no promise or nothing. Like they just was never on it how I was on it. And I realized that with that group of friends, I would sacrifice a lot of my stuff and sabotage myself a lot to support my friends. So it was on a different group. I think it's the ADHD, but I have a different view of loyalty than most. And I did some shady shit in that group too, but I think it was more influenced by the group. I don't know. But when you do separate, get back on topic for it, when you do separate from those type of groups, they try to make you look crazy because the reason why is because you know too much about the group. You know too much about the inner workings of that group. And that was the key for me, I think, and I might be wrong on that, but I think was I was pushed away so hard because it wasn't a whole lot of dirt on me. It was some, a ton of embarrassing moments. I did a bunch of stupid shit from like college in my 20s. But it wasn't anything malicious dirt where like, oh, he's a bad guy. And I had stopped talking to everybody. I had kind of separated myself. And it wasn't out of anger. It was out of kind of growth, or where I'm like, the stuff that y'all interested in, I'm not really interested in. So, you know what I mean? It's just a natural progression or a natural kind of separation. Yeah, but I just want to tell a story. So, like, comment, subscribe. If y'all like this, I can do a bunch of. I got a bunch of stories. I've lived an interesting life. I've realized. I was driving from Vegas to Sedona, and I realized, like, dog, I lived a hell of a life so far. So I got stories for days. If y'all want more stories, let me know. It's Kenny Camps. Like, comment, subscribe.